if you go to page 293, you find that email and the attached document. You see that? You confirm that you sent that email to Ashu?
Yes, sir.
And the document that Ms. Fick quotes, you find it 294, and what she does is she quotes the second part of the paragraph under the heading Powers of the Minister of Communication as set out in the proclamation. You confirm that?
Yes. Yes, and I confirm I'm the author of this document, the document itself under Com 5.
Then you go back to Ms. Fick's affidavit at paragraph 21. On 25 July, Muthambi sent 2 emails to Mr. Chwala. In the first email, with the subject line Proclamation New July 18, she wrote, "These sections must be transferred to the Minister of Communications." A document describing the statutory provisions to which she referred was attached to the email under the file name Proclamation New 20 July 2014 Clean. The document named Proclamation New 18 July 2014 Clean proposed the retransfer of certain powers under the Electronic Communications Act from the Minister of Telecommunications and Postal Services to the Minister of Communications. Do you see that?
Can you refer me back to the paragraph again?
Yes, to Fick's affidavit, paragraphs 18 and 19.
18 and 19.
Yes.
Okay. I think I was a step ahead of you. Okay. Sure. Yes, I can see this.
Sorry, I was referring you not to 18 and 19, to 21 and
22.
22, I beg your pardon.
Paragraphs 21 and 22, Ms. Muthambi.
Yes, Chairperson.
So we're talking about an email on the 25th of July. Now that email you find at page 295. Would you confirm that?
Before that, Chairperson, can I deal with paragraph? I didn't want to paragraph. I put my version for each paragraph so that I don't lose track.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Because the more you bring all those the paragraph, then yes.
Or you want to give your version per paragraph?
Yeah, the paragraph.
Oh, okay.
I think that will assist me a great deal. And per annexure. You can refer to one annexure
but
and then the paragraph.
To respond to
that
each
and
paragraph.
dispose of that. Go to the other one in that form, Chairperson.
Okay. Mr. Mybeck, is that fine?
Yes, certainly.
She is asking that even if you refer to the emails, she would prefer if she can just respond to each paragraph that is relevant.
All right.
Yeah. She says she doesn't want to lose track. She doesn't want to lose track of.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
So, Ms. Muthambi, we are dealing with paragraphs 21 and 22. And that email...
There's something that 17 said, I had something to comment on it.
Earlier, starting from 18. Did you say you want to comment?
Yeah, I
earlier?
started 17 person.
Okay. Tell us which paragraph you want to comment
18.
on. 18. Okay.
On 17 chapter.
And 17. Okay, all right.
Yes.
17 says, these emails were either sent directly from Muthambi to Tony Gupta or indirectly from Muthambi to the Sahara Company CEO, Mr. Ashu Chawla. Mr. Chawla in turn forwarded Muthambi's correspondence to Tony Gupta and to Duzane Zuma, President Zuma's son. The latter appears to have acted as a conduit between the Guptas and President Zuma. What do you say about that? Yes,
I wanted to comment on the last part.
Yeah.
That reads, the latter appears to have acted as a conduit between the Guptas and President Zuma.
Yes.
And I want to put it on record that I have no knowledge of this chairperson.
Okay. Okay. No, that's fine. Is that the only part you wanted to deal with in paragraph 17?
And then coming, yes, that's
okay. Paragraph 18 says, on 18 July 2014, Muthambi emailed a copy of the President's proclamation on the transfer of administration and powers to certain cabinet members, published as Proclamation 47 of 2014 in Government Gazette number that to Ashu Chawla, who in turn forwarded the email to Tony Gupta. What do you wish to say about that?
The issue, chairperson, on this one, like I indicated earlier, the industry, this proclamation, when you go through it, as I said, it was cumbersome. And we all know that the proclamation is got a gazette number, it's a document that everybody can have access. So this was part of my engagement with stakeholders, chairperson. Every stakeholder within the broadcasting space, because like I said earlier, industry was confused at the time. This was part of my stakeholder engagement, and that's why I'm saying I sent this to whoever was supposed to receive this. It's a pity that we are dealing with leaked emails here, chairperson. And then those the ones that went to this a company wherein they own AN7, as I said. So this was part of my stakeholder engagement, chairperson, on the policy, and also for me to explain the regulation, because I was inundated with a lot of queries about this regulation as to who does what. And then, so that's the issue that I'm trying to raise, to say, I sent it to whoever was supposed to receive it, including these ones. So that's the issue that I wanted to talk to on the matter.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Mybeck.
Yes, thank you. So going back to paragraphs 21 and 22, I just wanted to ask you to confirm.
Or maybe check whether he wants to say anything on 19 and 20, unless she already did so. Mr. Mybeck.
Ms. Muthambi, do you want to say anything about paragraphs 19 and 20? Or is it the same point?
Yes, Chairperson. I must say this, Chairperson, when you do that, when you consult, you also share your views. What needs to happen, my interpretation of the transfer legislation at the time. So on 19, on these matters, on the attachment that referred to, I shared it with the industry, also what I think needs to happen, reading the said proclamation as referred to in COM 2 on page 268.
Okay, all right. So, but can we take it that whenever in this affidavit of Ms. Fick, whenever she says you sent an email to people outside of government, your response is that you did so as part of your engagement and consultation with stakeholders on policy issues. Can we take it that that is the position for all emails that you send to our people who are outside of
Yes,
government?
Chairperson.
Yes. Okay.
Yes, Chairperson.
Okay.
Yes, Chairperson.
Okay. And maybe for the sake of completeness, this might expedite matters. Can we take it that you have gone through Ms. Fick's affidavit, and whenever she says you sent an email to somebody who is outside of government, you admit that you did send it, but your explanation is that you sent it as part of consultation and engagement with stakeholders on policy matters. Can we go that far?
Yes, Chairperson.
Okay, all right.
Yes, Chairperson.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Mybeck,
Thank you.
I hope that has helped.
Yes.
And then I wanted to comment on 20.
Yes, comment on 20.
Maybe Mr. Maybeck must assist me which annexure is tied to 20 so that I can talk to the actual document.
Okay, he will tell you just now.
So that email, Ms. Muthambi, you find at page 293.
293, page 293, Ms. Muthambi. That's where you'll find that annexure.
Yes, Chair. I want to explain this annexure, Chairperson.
Yes.
This is my own document that I prepared
Yes.
after reading the ICASA Act.
Yes.
And also reading the proclamation. So whatever is quoted there is my own wording, having read the ICASA Act and the Broadcasting Act. So that's the issue that I had to deal with. And you'll check that as you go further. I also highlighted that there's still uncertainty that exists. And then that relates to the uncertainty as to how the division will practically function, especially in respect to ICASA, while the Minister of Communication appoints, removes, and deals with the performance of a management system of ICASA. One doesn't have an input. I was commenting on the proclamation. One does not have an input into the substantive work to be done by ICASA. And then I further on say that it's like having an employer being able to hire, fire, and performance manage an employee, but having no ability to set, direct, make input, or give guidance on the work of that employee. And then I later on said what needs to happen. At least it's there on the annexure. You can read it, Chairperson, just to save time.
Yes, okay. So the
So
annexure.
I'm the author of this document, Chairperson.
Yes.
This is what I was sharing with the industry to say this is my thinking on what this proclamation that doesn't address.
Yes. So the document you are reading is the one that appears at page 294. Is that correct?
Yes, Chair.
Okay. Was it? It is a one-page document. Is that right?
Yes, it is, Chairperson.
Okay. All right. Mr. Mybeck.
Thank you. So, Ms. Muthambi, that then brings us to paragraphs 21 and 22. That document there, 25 July, you find that at page 295. Would you confirm that?
Yes, Chairperson, I do confirm that.
It says these sections.
And then I'll further say that this is my own document that I wrote, also looking at the various aspects of the Electronic Communication Act, which despite the proclamation, you remember the Electronic Communication Act has that sections that dealt with broadcasting. So that's the issue that I had to pick up those sections, and then I refer to them there, like section 3 of the ECA. The ECA is the Electronic Communication Act. I also, then I was making comments on those sections of the Act, 298 chapters. In essence, what I did, ECA, that was supposed to have been transferred to me by the President, because the ECA as well regulates broadcasting. Remember, I was the custodian of the Broadcasting Act. Then the Broadcasting Act doesn't work alone. It has these sections that are picked up from the Electronic Communications Act chairperson.
Okay.
And then I took them, and then I had to explain them, and also to indicate what needs to happen.
Yeah.
So what Ms. Fix says at paragraph 22 is that this document proposed, and I think it's what you're saying, the retransfer of certain powers under the Electronic Communications Act from the Minister of Telecommunications and Postal Services to the Minister of Communications, correct?
So I won't say that on her behalf, Chairperson, yet we are well aware that she never came to this commission and did evidence. But like I said, I'm saying what this document means now, Chairperson.
All right.
As the author of the document.
At paragraph 23 of Ms. Fick's affidavit, she says a second email sent minutes later with the subject, the responsibility for Infraco and Centec. Muthambi wrote, quote, Centec signal distribution must rest with the Ministry of Communications. The attached document motivates for the transfer of the powers and functions over Centec, in brackets, who is responsible for broadcasting signal distribution to the SABC and commercial broadcasters, close brackets, from the Minister of Telecommunications and Postal Services to the Minister of Communications under the Centec Act. Now, that document you find at page 299, that email. You confirm that you sent that on the 25th of July to Ashu?
Yes, Chairperson, to confirm that Common 9 on 300 is my document, having read, and this were my views on reading the proclamation.
So you say Centec signal distribution must rest with the Ministry of Communications?
Yes.
All right.
And I've explained why. If you read on those issues, the one that are on italic, why I thought so.
And then Ms. Fick says at paragraph 24, both emails of 25 July were subsequently forwarded by Ashu Shwala to Tony Gupta and Duduzani Zuma in separate emails. So let's just deal with the email from Shwala.
Can I come in on that?
If I could just show you those emails.
Can I come on that? Okay.
Mr. Myberg would like to show you the emails before you respond. Is that fine?
So the forwarding of the forwarding of the emails by Ashu to Tony Gupta, you find them at page 301. Do you see that? That's from Ashu to Tony Gupta.
I can see that, Chairperson.
And there's another document.
I can see that.
At 305. You see that again from Ashu to Tony Gupta. Ms. Muthambi?
Chairperson, I can see the document up to 305.
Okay, and then if you go to 307, you'll see the forwarding from Ashu to Duduzane Zuma. You see that? 307.
Yes, I can see this on the emails, Chairperson.
And then if you go to page 311, you see the second document being forwarded from Ashu to Duduzane Zuma. Do you see that?
I see the forwarding, Chairperson.
Now, if I could take you, please, to paragraph 25 of Ms. Fick's affidavit. She says the use by Muthambi of the word must in both of her emails is particularly disturbing. You see that?
Yes, Chairperson.
She says it suggests one of two possibilities. A, either she was conveying to Tony Gupta that these changes had to take place if the interests of the Gupta family were to be protected, or B, she was instructing Tony Gupta and or Duduzane Zuma to use his influence with President Zuma, in brackets the only person who could reassign the functions in question, to ensure that the proposed changes did take place. Do you want to comment on that?
Yes, I would say I disagree with the content of this paragraph. And I'm saying my answer, this is not correct. No one has the power to instruct the president. Nobody has got that power. Even these people that I'm mentioning, they didn't have the power to instruct the president. So if it's the word must, I think used to the extent of the president must do what is written on A and B. That's why I disagree with the content of this paragraph. Okay?
All right, and then at paragraph 26, Ms. Fink says, included in the powers which Proclamation New 18 July 2014 proposed to have retransferred to Muthambi was the power under Section 3 of the Electronic Communications Act to make national policy for the information, communications and technology sector to the extent that it deals in any way with broadcasting service or an electronic communications network service used for or in the provision of broadcasting services. Would you agree with that?
Okay.
Do you have any comment on paragraph 26?
Can you refer me to the annex section?
Yeah, he will tell you the page number for the annexure just now.
That you find at 295. That's the document Proclamation New.
You're saying it's page 295?
295. You said 295?
Yes, 295. That's the email. The document itself is at 296.
Now, this document, as I said, it can be the document referred to on 26.
On paragraph 26.
Because this is the document, as I said earlier, Chair, is the document wherein I took the Electronic Communication Act and then take all those sections that are related to broadcasting. Then I've put them there. So that's why it was going to be very important that Ms. Fick could have come here and explain this, because you read this with this annexure, they're actually not interrelated, Chairperson.
Okay.
But if you look at 26, what Ms. Fink says is included in the powers which Proclamation New 18 July 2014 proposed to have transferred to Muthambi was the power under Section 3 of the Electronic Communications Act. Now, if you go to page 296, there you are dealing with the Electronic Communications Act, and the first paragraph deals with Section 3.
As I said.
The first paragraph deals
Yes,
with Section 3.
as I said. Yes.
Doesn't that reflect what Ms.
But
Fick
like
is... Sorry, go ahead.
No. As I said, this is the document I prepared myself. And then when I read this paragraph, it's what the Act says, Chairperson. It's not my own making. This is what the ECA says. And then the issue here was around the roles and responsibility of the Minister of Postal and Telecommunications, including the Minister for Communication. As you read the Gazette itself, as per page 2, I'm quickly browsing the page 268.